Hi everyone, that's a pretty tough act to follow there. We're going to look really square now, I think, but we'll power through. So I'm Kelly, this is Rich, in case anyone was in any doubt who was who, and we are from Verve, the leaders in AI-empowered insight and foresight. That is a pretty bold claim we're making there, but hopefully we can spend the next 15 minutes helping you believe that a little bit, hopefully. However, before I start, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Anguilla. Do we have any Anguillans in the room today? Nope, I would be surprised if we did. Anguilla is a tiny Caribbean island, population just shy of 20,000 people. And Anguilla is interesting because it has a uniquely valuable AI asset. It owns the .ai domain. And in 2024 alone, it made almost $40 million from AI-related domain registrations. That's almost a quarter of its GDP. And this year, it's set to earn even more. I love that story, not just because I'm a fact nerd, but because it captures, for me, something bigger and very interesting. So AI has undoubtedly completely transformed the Anguillan economy. And for marketers and market researchers like Rich and myself, the AI transformation of our industry is set to be just as powerful. Because our view is that AI is solving a huge problem in insight. And remember, we're researchers, we're coming at it from that side. Until now, customer centricity has been, let's be honest, more of an aspiration than a reality. Research has been too slow, data is often too fragmented, and insights are too static to drive real action. So at Verve, over the last 2 years, we've been asking, what could AI-driven transformation of our industry look like if we put customer understanding, so real human truth, at the center of it? What would that change? Well, so imagine never needing to make a decision without the customer in the room again. A world where your whole business or agency has access to a single source of truth, where you can speak to your future customer today, design products they'll buy, and land campaigns that always hit the mark. It sounds bold, but we believe it's absolutely possible, because the data to enable this already exists. For most part, clients, agencies, you've already got the data asset. And really here, AI is the silver bullet that connects the dots. So we're seeing it as being able to unify insight ecosystems, surface what matters, layering on cultural and contextual relevance, and enabling real human understanding to permeate all decision-making. And this is exciting. This is customer centricity made real. And actually, it's happening now. Brands are actually starting to do this, using AI to transform how they connect with customers. And this enables the faster insights, the smarter campaigns, and sharper innovation, the dream. So just briefly, for example, we've been working with Samsung, directly putting intelligence into their innovation process with a suite of AI-powered personas that act as always-on design collaborators with their team. And they're built from real human data, and the simulations are helping Samsung to make faster, more future-fit decisions around mobiles and wearables. With UBS, we're building simulations of high net worth individuals and transforming really fragmented insight on this notoriously hard to reach audience into strategic advantage. And these AI-powered personas are giving marketing teams a way to think with their audience in a category where, as I said, it's really, really hard to get good quality insights from people. And then finally, with Mars Pet Care, we're helping scale customer closeness. And this involves turning hundreds of individual pet-parent conversations, so those deep one-to-one conversations with stakeholders across the organization, into always-on AI-powered simulations. And this is enabling them to embed customer voice into everyday decisions across teams and markets. And it's a shift from these one-off, really deep, important insight moments into company-wide empathy. So with AI, what's enabling us to do as an industry is take high-quality data assets and move from hindsight to real-time and from siloed decks to living intelligence, which we find really exciting. So this, people, is our Anguilla moment in research. And I'm going to hand over to Rich to tell you how it's done.
Thank you very much. So when talking about AI being a silver bullet for better understanding customers, the key point to take from what Kelly just said there is that it's all about the high quality data. And specifically, it's your high quality data or your client's high quality data that's the key part to focus on. Well, why? Well, in the insights industry at the moment, there is a lot of talk about, and debate to be honest, about the value of synthetic data. Synthetic essentially being a shorthand for any AI generated data or insight. Now, we personally prefer not to use the term synthetic when talking about AI solutions, partly because synthetic itself has negative connotations, it suggests fake, it suggests cheap, but also because some of the solutions being positioned as synthetic don't have any clear origin. While they are fast and they are cheap, they can just be AI scraping random nonsense. And who wants to make decisions based on AI scraping random nonsense? Hopefully nobody. We need trust in the outputs that AI creates, and we get that trust from having your data or your client's data to train the AI solutions. Now, the second reason your customer data or your client's customer data is so important relates to another challenge with AI that I've heard expressed numerous times over the last couple of days. And this is the idea of everything averaging out. We know that everyone has the same access to the same technology, can ask the same questions, the same large language models. And the problem here in doing that is that everyone gets the same answers. Furthermore, AI can start to eat itself, meaning the results become flat, generic, and impossible to verify. Essentially, if everyone is using the same off-the-shelf solutions, everyone can end up with the same off-the-shelf answers. And they become blander over time, which isn't very helpful if you're trying to use AI to help you think differently or to inspire new innovative campaigns. The reality is AI works much better when it's trained and given specific context. And the key differentiator you have to train AI is the unique data you or your clients hold on your customers. Real, fresh human data gives endless variety to train AI with. Now, this can be transactional data, it can be primary research data, it can be segmentations, customer closeness programs, anywhere you have captured consumer attitudes, behaviors, and values. That data is yours. It's the one thing no one else has. It's your own repository of human truth. It's a very valuable asset in an AI world, and it's what can make you unique. The challenge is how you leverage that data. Quite often it's locked away, scattered in silos, hidden in research reports, nuggets of gold just gathering dust. So how do we use it? That's where we can come in. There are solutions to bring that data together and start to unlock it. So we talk about fusing human intelligence. We talk about fusing human intelligence, which is your data, cultural intelligence, that's loads of information about the wider world, and with the power of generative AI. With great data, you can start to train AI to work uniquely for you. In this case, as Kelly mentioned, it's about creating simulations that we call intelligent personas. These are simulations of your target audiences or of your customers. They're ready to give you robust insight, as your customers would, in real time whenever you need it. Your customers on tap, essentially. But they are different to synthetic solutions because they are built using high-quality data, which means they can be validated and verified. It's not just an idea, it's already happening with the clients and many others, as Kelly mentioned earlier. So how do we build intelligent personas? Well, in danger of sounding like a broken record, we start with your data, your high-quality data, to train the AI. That means the simulations will reflect the reality of your customers, not just a generic view of the internet. Now, this training data can take many different forms, no matter how disparate or seemingly unconnected those data forms are. Segmentation reports, qualitative outputs, cultural context, transactional data. You can use our AI platform to make sense of them and connect it together. Now, we tend to categorize the data to train the AI in three ways. First of all, we talk about seed data. This is the core information that's detailing your audience, so a segmentation report or a segmentation data file, for example. Then we talk about, number two, contextual data. This is broader information that explains your category and key trends. This includes a lot of the rich cultural data that explain your brand, the category, and the audiences. The third bucket is enrichment data. This is natural consumer language that you use to bring the simulations to life. Now, this can come, again, from any source. Quite often you use focus group transcripts, depth interviews, or even social data that's been cleaned and curated to do that. This framework grounds the simulations in reality, in trusted data, so it reflects your reality or your client's realities, not the internet's. The final step is to validate these simulations against real people so you can start to trust what they tell you. This is really important because one of the most key questions we get and the most common questions we get is, how do you know the AI isn't just making shit up? And this is how you do it. You run comparisons against real-world data, and we have statistically proven that these simulations respond in the same way as real people. They are shown to correlate precisely with real-world responses against real-world quantitative data. Now, it's not perfect, it's not like for like. If anyone saw Alex's brilliant presentation earlier, it's exactly that point that can take you to around sort of 0.8, 0.9 correlations against that real data. But if stats are your thing, that's a really impressive figure when we're talking in the world of research, particularly when a lot of primary research won't give you perfect truth anyway. The other great thing about VIP simulations is that they are dynamically updated. You can feed in any new primary research or cultural input to ensure they stay up to date and relevant. And it's not one size fits all either in terms of those simulations. You can build them in different ways or combine them in different ways for different ways of working and workflows. So we talk about knowledge personas here on the left-hand side. This is everything you know about your category, your landscape, your competitors. Think of them as an insight strategist with perfect recall. They summarize past research, they connect the dots, and they surface insights you didn't even know you had. And they make them instantly available. It's a great jumping off point for ideation, a hypothesis, or creating a starting point for new campaigns or creative development. We then think about the audience personas in the middle. These are the simulations of individual groups of customers, specific customer segments or cohorts. Once you've created something, a campaign idea, a new brief, a product idea, you can see what your audience thinks about it. So if you want to test a message, if you want to explore a routine, if you want to run a qualitative conversation tonight, you can do that. They're waiting for you anytime, anywhere. And they won't get bored or tired no matter how many questions you ask, or how dull or stupid your questions are, or how sensitive or how confidential. They're ready to respond in seconds. Finally, we have future personas. Imagine speaking to your customers in 2030. Here we're stretching the creativity of the simulations. We build these simulations from forward-thinking trends, expert interviews, conversations with niche consumers sitting on the fringes of society, anywhere we can get wider cultural signals, helping you to co-create future possibilities today. And you can combine these sorts of personas in different ways for different situations. So you might start with knowledge personas, for example, to understand everything about your industry or category. What does the landscape look like? What are our competitors doing? What are the white spaces opportunities? What's shaping the market? They provide the insight on the market trends and dynamics for you. They're the launch pad for ideation. Once you've got ideas, you can test them instantly with consumers to get feedback and understand specific perspectives of these groups of customers. And next, you can stretch these ideas into new places. What should we be designing for next? Get inspiration for future changes and possible scenarios. These are designed to provoke forward thinking and more immersive storytelling. Effectively combining these things together with your primary research, with a consultancy, is a new way to embed intelligence into the design process. Always on collaborators that help make insight faster, design sharper, and foresight smarter. It's relevant for any brand looking to work with AI in a way that's more efficient, but also, dare I say, more human as well. So let's circle back to that big promise, never making a decision without checking with your customer again. Behind me is a simple example of a conversational interaction with some personas. This is a simulation built from real data to represent specific customer segments. And with this, you can do all the things you might do in a depth interview. I'm sorry the words don't appear very clearly on the screen, but with instant responses and more depth. So you may have seen on the screen, we start with an individual conversation where we've asked about the individual. That now moves into a group of focus groups talking to each other and giving in-depth responses. And it's not just questions you can ask, you can also start to get responses to concepts, you can put ideas, images up and have them respond to that as well. Feedback instantly for you without having to wait weeks or to burn budgets to get there. And as I say, because it's built on real data, everything you're starting to see, you can have confidence in those outputs because they can be trusted and validated.
I think we're out of time, so we're going to really quickly flick forward and just say, if you scan the QR code, that'll give you access to the ultimate guide to Verve Intelligent Personas, which contains all the information we didn't get a chance to say today and loads more. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed that.